All right, back on the Young Turks. We know the system is fundamentally corrupt, and the question is how corrupt, and the question is how do we change it, and is anybody even bothering to try? That's within politics right now. Those are topics we're going to talk to Joshua Brown about. He wrote an article for the Faster Times, As Economy Falters, Lobbyists Rake in the Dough. Josh, welcome to the Young Turks.
Thanks for having me. Great to be on.
Great to have you here. So first, tell us how successful lobbyists have been in this year in terms of the money that they're getting in.
The lobbyists themselves are extremely successful. They look to be on pace to shatter $3.3 billion, which was the record spent in 2008. They've done $2.5 billion in terms of fees from their clients, corporate America, through the first 3 quarters of this year, and the fourth quarter is obviously very active.
Part of that, though, is that there's more of an activist campaign by the White House to actually pass health reform, climate reform, etc. So, Josh, it makes sense that the lobbyists were going to make more money because they're more in need to fight off this legislation. Does that make sense?
Sure. So, look, there are veterans who've been watching they call it the advocacy business for decades, and in fact, one of them is a professor at American University. He says he's never seen anything as active as this, even going back to 1973. So certainly, this is big bucks and a great time for anyone that's in the influence peddling business.
You know, Josh, I also saw a report. I don't know if you saw this on how politically connected banks are wind up getting more advantage and more money from the federal government. They looked at if these banks had people on the board of the Fed, if they wound up having congressmen that were important financial committee positions in their district, et cetera. Found a way to see how politically connected these banks are and connected that to how much money they were getting out of Congress, and it was a clear correlation. So
Sure. So this is a University of Michigan study that actually surfaced last night. The stats are exactly what you would expect. The one that I pick out that I think is pretty telling is banks that had an executive who sat on the board of a Federal Reserve bank, in one of the regions, were 31% more likely to get bailouts through TARP's capital purchase program. And then banks that have ties to any financial committee member were 26% more likely to get what's called capital purchase program funds. So, look, you don't have to be, Woodward and Bernstein to dig this stuff up. They're doing it right in front of us, and the correlation couldn't be more obvious.
So we are all kind of agreed here. It turns out, as Dick Durbin said about the banks, they own this place, right, referring to Capitol Hill. But it's not just the banks, right, Josh? It's all of corporate America that's giving the lobbyists money to the politicians, and then the politicians give it back to them in manyfold. So what we recognize it, but do the politicians, A, recognize it, and B, do they give a damn, C, are they doing a damn thing about it? I know the Republicans aren't, and I don't think they ever really claim to. But the Democrats claimed they were going to do something about it, right? Are they doing anything about it, or is it business as usual?
So my blogging colleague, Simon Johnson, who writes Baseline Scenario, has a piece up yesterday talking about why Obama is a bigger failure than any of the last 3 presidents combined. And the reason is he ran as a reform candidate. And he's really, I don't know if this was in him all along or if this is something that's become a part of him because he's the president, but, there's no change whatsoever. This is not just business as usual. This is business as usual on steroids. And to single out the banks when you have this free-for-all with the healthcare lobbying that's going on would be unfair. You're right. It's not just finance. It's not just banks. It's really across the board, but it's banks and pharma in particular.
Yeah, I mean, look, again, we had Eleanor Clift on the show, and we've had Jonathan Alter on the show. We had so many people that come on and say, hey, no, wait a minute, he's doing the best he can within the system, Barack Obama, and you guys are too harsh on him, and you're a purist, etc. And Eleanor said, well, he didn't say he was going to, challenge the whole system. But Josh, didn't he on the campaign? I mean, did I miss it? I thought that was the whole point of the Obama campaign, that he wasn't going to cut these deals, that he was going to take them head on. Isn't that right?
I think that's you can't have this discussion without coming back to a lot of the promises about no more business as usual and we're not going to do deals in the dark. If you look at what Senator Reid has done behind closed doors, if you were to pass this bill without all the tacking on and all the freebies and the giveaways, if you were to attempt to pass this bill, you probably wouldn't even clear 20% of Congress. So it is business as usual, and the promises were, Bush didn't make these promises, Obama did.
Let's talk about that for a second. We're talking to Josh Brown from the Faster Times, and you can read his piece on thefastertimes.com. Because now the Republicans, including top Republican strategists like Ed Rollins, are saying, hey, this is like, they didn't draw this analogy. Let me draw the analogy, and I'll tell you what they said. The analogy is when Republicans say family values, then they go cheat on their wife. It's worse than if a Democrat cheats on his wife because they're being hypocritical, right? And what Ed Rollins is saying is the equivalent here. Bush and the Republicans never promised you they were going to take on lobbyists or change the system.
Right.
The Democrats said that this was their signature issue, and so when they don't, it's worse. It's more hypocritical. Do they have a point?
McCain was actually built for these times because he really was a reformer until the GOP got their mitts on him. And he had his flaws and his running mate choice and all that. But at the end of the day, these are the battles that he was built for. Is it hypocritical for a Democrat? Not really, because if you look at all of the things that are up for grabs here, they touch on both parties. Everyone's got a dog in the race. You can't say we're hypocritical because this is not expected of us. I think at this point, the American people expect everyone to be, to some extent, beholden to some kind of special interest. I guess a year in, we probably didn't expect Obama to quite be this captured.
Yeah, I guess, look, I'm a realist, and I didn't think that there was going to be rainbows and butterflies when Obama got into office. But
right.
You captured it, Josh. I didn't expect the capture to be this deep.
And fast.
Right, and it was instant. I mean, he picked Rahm Emanuel, he brought Billy Tozan in, struck the deal with the pharmaceutical companies, and before we knew what happened, corporate America had won again, and we didn't even stand a chance.
Right.
And so that's why I think a lot of people feel dispirited, because they don't know where to turn if the Democrats don't do it. And that's why I put it on the Democrats, because we knew the Republicans weren't going to do it. And if the Democrats don't do it, then who's going to do it? And there isn't a good answer to that.
That's exactly right. You look at a scenario where you have someone running as the reform candidate. Literally, I'm going to change. I don't think McCain was running on a change platform. Obama's entire raison d'etre was, I am the change candidate, and we're going to do things differently. And this is not only not doing things differently, this is doing things the old way, but even more violently and quickly. If you read some of the stuff being talked about on, for example, the finance reform bill, which, by the way, Obama has beaten back the credit card companies. He's lost to the banks, but he managed to, in the end, win against credit card companies. But if you look at the timetable, most people that watch this industry for a living will tell you the stuff that they're looking to get done within a year would normally take 4 years. And I think that is why you're seeing records being broken on the lobbyist side, the timetable itself.
Right. And to be fair, that's also a credit to Obama that he's taken on all of it. Maybe, that might be why he's cutting deals that we're entirely unhappy with, because he's trying to get it all done as quickly as possible, if you want to look at the positive side of it.
Right. There's some expedience in the mix, and we gotta take that for what it's worth.
Yep, absolutely. Josh Brown from the Faster Times. Really appreciate you coming on the Young Turks.